Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for having me today. So I am surprised, actually from Indianapolis. I didn't make that list, but that's cool. I've got a bunch of big scary words on this slide, like combustible and unleashing, and then there's this little lightning bolt that can't help but be friendly. So we just tried to soften it a little bit. It kind of makes me want to eat ice cream or something, but we call this combustible content. So it's all about bringing the boom. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. I am from Indianapolis. I'm excited to be here today because this is like the one or two talks that I give in Indianapolis this year. Next week I'm in South Carolina, the week after that in California, and get to do lots of speaking around. So it's fun to be here where it's at home around some friends and people I know. And I have a branding agency that's here in town called MilesHerndon, and we do a lot of branding and website work. So I'm here to tell you, as somebody who is traveling around the country, hearing from firms all over the place, that whether you're talking about our clients in Seattle or Florida or Tennessee or New Jersey, heaven forbid you have to go there, Chicago, this talent war thing that people have been talking about today is a real deal. So when people are like, hey, we need a new brand, we need a better website, they're not doing it because they just want something better and prettier. They're doing it because they want to attract and retain the best talent. Now, I do not have the silver bullet for you. I think we've heard a lot of great tips today about how to retain and how to attract the right kind of talent. I'm just here to suggest that perhaps marketing is one of the tactics you might consider to help share what's great about your team. So today we're going to talk about what an SME is, why market your experts, how to identify combustible content in your firm, how to foster a culture of content, and how to deliver the boom. If I'm talking really fast, it's because I am not going to have Holly mad at me because I went over. I generally talk fast, and we've got a whole lot of stuff to cover, so strap in. So any words that I use today, if you don't know what they mean, just give me a shout out and we'll define those, but I'll do my best to cover those as we go. Fair? SME is the first one on that bullet point. Subject matter expert. So anytime I say subject matter expert or SME, we've said thought leaders earlier today. There's probably 100 other phrases. Your technical folks, fill in the blank. We mean all of those things when we say this. Cool? So why would you want to market your subject matter experts? One reason is maybe it's really good for the company if you do so. Wouldn't the benefits of marketing the fact that you've got all of these smart people under one roof be really great for your company to say, hey, we've got these resumes, these folks are on our team, these are the people who are part of our team, and this is the expertise that we have. And on the flip side, it kind of backs into some of those offerings. So you've got 3 guys who are the best bridge designers in the state. Isn't it helpful to talk about those folks if you want to talk about how great that particular service line is for your company? And ultimately, like we've been saying before, perhaps even these subject matter experts will become a draw for new business. Not to mention, it's kind of great for the subject matter expert themselves. So it's like their one chance to kind of show off and strut their stuff. I think people think it's cool, and your firm is getting attention because they work for you. How awesome is that? And ultimately, as my friend in Dallas, Craig, says, it's about moving upstream in value. Now, Craig has a firm called Idebri, and he's from the UK, so everything he says sounds cooler than when I say it. First time I was in the car with him, he picked me up at the airport in his fancy car, and he was like, Josh, as everything becomes Googleable, isn't it more important that we move upstream for value to demonstrate great? And I was like, my mind is blown, and it probably would just sound totally uninteresting if you said it with a Midwestern accent, but I was just like, wow. My friend Jay Baer, who's also an Indiana guy, talks about, we've got the whole world's knowledge in our pants. Like your cell phone, you can get at any answer like this. So being the firm who can get the right answer, that's not going to be good enough anymore. So if it's not just about the answer, then what is it about? It's about having the right people and adding that human connection on top of that. So it's not that promoting your people and talking about your people and getting them out there is a bad idea. The problem is it's actually really hard. Now, why is this difficult? So one thing is, if you're in high demand, you're a subject matter expert within your firm, you're a pretty busy person. You're going to meetings, you're creating deliverables, you're talking to clients, you're dealing with issues, you're doing walkthroughs, you're reviewing plans. Your time, the tax on your time is huge. And it turns out contributing to marketing is probably not in your job description. Fair enough? And nobody's going to pay you. None of your clients are going to pay you more because you wrote a blog post today. So these are all things that kind of work against this concept. So this is the latest research from the Content Marketing Institute, further proving that if you can come up with an idea, there's probably an institute that supports that idea. The Content Marketing Institute surveyed business-to-business marketers and said, hey, what are your biggest challenges this year? What are the things you think you're going to be going uphill against? The top things, you can kind of throw a hula hoop around all of these: producing engaging content, producing content consistently, measuring content effectiveness, and producing a variety of content kind of comes down to how are we possibly going to create enough stuff that is the right stuff? This budget thing's another issue, but then gaps in knowledge and skills of the internal team. I think if you piece all those together, what you walk away with is the marketing and communication folks, the business development team, is not getting enough information from the technical folks to know how to create the right kinds of marketing materials. Or at least that's the biggest challenge that they face on a day-to-day basis. So content marketing, another term that we've introduced here. This is not about selling or making sales collateral, making a new brochure, adding a new website. Content marketing is not about giving away company secrets, and it's not about sharing privileged information. It's not sharing anything you shouldn't know. Content marketing is about helping. So if you've been on a website that says, give us your email address and you can download this checklist to see if we're the right fit for you, or here's the white paper, or the new guide, or something that would help you become a more informed consumer, or a more informed client, or a more informed partner. Those are the types of things that I'm talking about when I'm talking about content marketing. So it's something that will demonstrate your expertise, and it's something that speaks directly to your target audience with the eventual goal of selling them something. It's not hit them over the head and try to sell them today. Make sense? So here's the idea here. Here's the thing that I want you to, if you only take away one thing today, I want you to think about this concept of combustible content. So combustible, if we have any technical folks in the room, is not something that has already blown up. Combustible is not something that's on fire. Combustible is something that has the potential. I love the potential energy thing from a minute ago. Very good. So all these talks just kind of stitch together nicely. So combustible content is about finding the stuff that your technical team has already created. It's the stuff that's hiding in plain sight. Chances are, if you check your sent mail from all of your technical team, they're writing blog posts every day. They're answering client questions or project manager questions, and they sit there for 45 minutes answering this question, and they craft this beautifully thought through answer. These are things that could so easily be sanitized, remove the important secret-y client stuff, and put this stuff out on the web, put it out where other people can find it. It's in your technical documents, it's in your proposal contributions. I guarantee you it's in your client deliverables, in your proposals. Any of those pieces that your team is making could easily help your marketing communications team. Sure, there are probably some that go, I can't share any of that. All right, that's fine. That's probably the outlier. So if you want to bring the thunder with my friendly little thunderbolt, you got to help your subject matter experts find their combustible content. So what are the other kinds of things you could help them create? So they've got all this other stuff. Imagine all the possibilities. Imagine all the things that you could help them do. So maybe the next step is to identify who are your subject matter experts. Maybe that's not hard. The real question is, who are the ones who are going to help us out, and who are the ones that I want to help as well? So what do you think? You're going to go to your technical staff tomorrow and say, all right, who's in? You going to have any concerns? Yeah, they're going to have concerns. They're going to freak out. This isn't in their job description. Are you kidding me? It's going to be a conversation, right? It's almost like a sales process. You've got to say, okay, here's what's in it for you. Here's what's in it for us. Here's why we want to do this. Here's why it's a great idea. And to help them think about all the things that they want to go through, and to start to set expectations. Because you might have one or two people in your firm, maybe you're blessed with more than one or two, who fit this description of a subject matter expert who also loves to write and create content and has a breadth of free time that they're willing to share with you. That's probably not the case with most of you. For most of them, you're going to have to do some method of capturing that expertise, which is often sit down with your subject matter expert and interview them, ask them questions, write it down, or have them give you a rough outline, or capture them on video, or perhaps they're really good on screen, perhaps they're better at creating drawings. There's a lot of different ways that this could go, but your job is to figure out, okay, who am I going to try to get involved in this, and how am I going to get them to contribute? This is total Holly Bolton phrase, by the way, a nose for news. But thinking about this like a journalist would means you're talking to the other people in your company and you're saying, hey, here's what I want you to listen for. When we create this kind of document, make sure that I know about this. When these kinds of deliverables are being created, make sure that somebody gets this through to marketing or to communications or to business development so we can use that stuff. That stuff is good. So this is the question I get a lot. So should this be about the person or should this be about the firm? Are we marketing the subject matter expert or the brand? And I understand in some firms this is going to be a little bit more politically charged question than maybe at Leckett & Farley. Like, this seems like a natural fit for you guys if you're not already doing this. But I think the cool thing about promoting and allowing your subject matter expert to have kind of their own room to speak and talk is they can address some subjects that maybe the company or the firm wouldn't want to do on their own. I'm not talking about really crazy far edge things. I'm just saying they could probably have an opinion on something that the firm doesn't necessarily want to have. So there's definitely some freedoms that come with allowing your subject matter expert to have a little bit more of the limelight. So ultimately, the question comes down to, do you have a firm that values marketing? And if the answer is no, then this idea is probably a really bad idea. But maybe to hit a little closer to home is if sharing your expertise isn't part of the culture in your firm, then maybe expertise isn't really part of your brand. That hurts it's just a little, yeah, we're going to think about that one for a little while. So ultimately, this is about you want to create a culture within your firm that values developing and sharing this type of content. Because if you have that kind of firm, it's the kind of firm that changes behavior and it drives, knocking down silos where technical folks and marketing folks and business development people, they're all working together for the same good, to get more of the right kind of work, to bring on the right kind of partners, and to help the market better understand what's awesome about your company. It's also great for socializing that content within the company. How many people have ever gotten through your company's finished a project, especially in these bigger firms, you go, I didn't know we were doing that. Or, I've been here for 2 years and I didn't know we did that back in 2004. How do you better socialize what your firm does and what you're about? Another great thing to be able to socialize is some of the wins. So, oh man, we got a bunch of likes or clicks or downloads, and setting expectations for what that's about, I think, is great. So the other big question I get is, what about our people getting poached? And I think if you really focus on creating a great culture, nobody ever says, man, that firm was awesome, but I left. Nobody says the culture was so good that I decided to do something else. So help coach those subject matter experts through the things you want them to do, and set expectations for, like, hey, maybe you create one post every 3 months or something. Just help me through this, and let's set low expectations and then kind of raise the bar of what we can do. Maybe even eventually making this part of HR, to where when you hire a new person, you say, part of working here as an architect is that we expect you to contribute to marketing 3 times a year, or something like that. So that's maybe a little blue sky. Practically speaking, this is how we do it. We've got a spreadsheet. We track all the pieces of content and all the topics, and we have a Tim. I recommend you have a Tim also. This is a real guy. His name is really Tim, and he really works for us, and he's really this excited all the time, especially about content marketing. Tim is awesome. So today we covered what is a subject matter expert, why to market them, how to identify combustible content, how to foster a culture of content, and hopefully how to deliver the boom. As my favorite philosopher Yoda once said, this content marketing thing is kind of like the do or do not, there is no try thing, right? Like you can't just kind of do this, you either got to do it or don't do it. So thank you very much. If you want to win this talent war, I recommend you foster a culture of content marketing. Thank you very much. If you'd like the slides, shoot me an email and I'll be around tonight.